Hey everyone, welcome back to the shack. Well, it's a rainy day here for a Monday here in New Brunswick. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go find our handy dandy salty Walt portable antenna sketchbook, and we're gonna build something. Because we can't go outside, we might as well be in the shack building something to take out in the field next time the weather gets nice. So let's go through the salty Walt portable antenna handbook, and we'll pick an antenna to build. All right, so I think we found the one we're gonna build, the Coastal 20 antenna. I always kind of wanted to build this one and try it. Let's skip through all this stuff here. There's the sketch. It's a no radial vertical antenna, so it needs 20.5 feet or 6.248 meters. With the upper element being 17.5 feet, a 4:1 balun, and a 3-foot lower element. We'll use one of our DX commander poles, and there is our coax in the design. And if you want to look at the radiation takeoff angles, it looks like, I don't know, what's that, 19.9 degrees on 20 meters and 13.2 degrees on 10. So yeah, let's give this one a whirl and see if we can build it, and it should take long. And then we'll take it out to our favorite beach there sometime this week when the weather gets nice. Oh, by the way, we set up the cigar lounge / VE9. Let's call it the VE9 CF cigar lounge right here. We reorganized it the other day because I wanted to make some more room. Plus, I took out the old RCA television. It looks really, really small there. Because this JVC television is a piece of junk. Doesn't even connect to the Wi-Fi at all. Where this RCA television works like a charm, connects to the Wi-Fi and everything. Oh, by the way, we got our 4:1 balun today. We picked this up from Radio World here in Canada. It's made by thewireman.com. So 4:1 balun is rated for 2 kilowatts. Pretty small rating and 2 kilowatt power rating. We're not going to run anything like that, but we may go out to the field next day or two with the amplifier and try this through the amplifier. See how that goes. Anyway, we're going to build the Coastal 20, and we'll see how that goes. Also, we got our Palomar Engineering 80-meter dipole. That's going to be a project for another day. So let's build this Coastal 20. So I got the Wireman balun here side by side with the LDG Unun. I don't think I'll ever buy another LDG Unun or balun ever again. I'll tell you why. What I like about the Wireman is the wing nuts at the top. Very, very easy to connect multiple ground radials to it, where with the LDG, if I open it up, the whole top doesn't even come off. It only comes up that high. And trying to get multiple ground elements in there is really painful. What I had to do is actually create a little pigtail and then try to run it either through by clipping it on here or trying to run it through that little hole. So engineering wise, nowhere near as superior as something as simple as little wing nuts. Now, I haven't yet proven the performance of this. I have proven the performance of this one, and it worked great at the beach the other night. But I do like how these wing nuts work. So we may end up using this one and try it out. Well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, and the nice thing about it is, just this is a balun. There is no negative and positive on it, or like here, ground and antenna. So we'll see how this goes. So according to the Radio World website, the Part 822B, which is one is rated for 2 kilowatt power, 1.1 SWR, which is pretty interesting. I can't get over the 2 kilowatts with this little thing. And it's a current type balun. So I may do a video in the future on the difference between a current and a voltage type balun once I get my head across it a bit more and kind of speak intelligently about it. But we're going to build the Coastal 20 with this 4:1 balun from the Wireman. And we'll put the 4:1 Unun from LDG just aside because I don't need it for this project. Let's cut the wire. I'm not going to be able to test it today since it's raining. So once I get it built here, we'll just use the magic of teleporting to another day and get this thing set up in the yard before we take it out in the field. By the way, a project for another day. I picked up this table. You're going to be shocked where I picked this table up. So Missy and I were out taking the truck out to the gas station on the outskirts of town here. And we drove by somebody's house that had that table with a sign on it. It said free at the end of the driveway. So this is going to be our testing radio room area. We got the, over here, you've probably seen another video. We have the FT891, the other 1010 amplifier power supply. I got this CB radio I got to get a speaker for. And we're going to put that over there so we can use that as a testing spot when we're building antennas and testing other radio gear. All right, enough of me blabbing away. Let's build this Coastal 20. So the first thing we need is some antenna wire. So I picked up this Amazon Basic speaker wire. real cheap on Amazon, and it works great for the rating elements for antennas. And with this new balun, it'll actually work great for the ground or the counterpoise as well, because I was using this cable, which is a bit more expensive, and I'd rather save that for like other KJ60R projects I want to do. So we'll use the Amazon speaker wire. I got plenty of it. So let's get our 17.5-foot section cut first. So the nice thing about the Amazon speaker wire, since it's in pairs, you really only need one side of the pair. So you just strip apart the wire, and you got yourself another 17.5-foot section for another antenna, another project. Yeah, you can see it just rips apart nice and easy, just like that. Got our extra piece here. I got these Tri-Lancer cable ties off Amazon as well. We'll just put that up there with our extra cable. Here's our good one that we're going to use. Now, I intentionally ran this a little longer because I remember a lesson my dad taught me when I was a youngster. Measure twice, cut once. So I cut this one a little longer just so I can make sure I didn't make a mistake and made it too short, if you understand what I mean. So now I can just trim off any extra without having to, risk, making this piece of wire useless. All right, so we trimmed back our cable. We got our, what are these, Wirefly connectors, and they fit perfectly on the balun. So let's get this all connected. Now, what I normally do here with these is I put this on with a little bit of heat shrink tubing just to make sure I get a nice fit there. You don't have to use the extra heat shielding or heat shrink tubing. But remember, I'm doing it my way. You may have a different way to do it. As long as at the end of the day, people can hear us and everything works, then that's all that matters. If you have a different way, that's great. I'm just doing it my way. I don't know what you call it. My way. That's the way I call it. All right, so we got it all done. We got our connector on for the balun side. And what I've done on the back side or the top side of the vertical, the one that goes up the mast, is I had some extra, this is just standard weed whacker, whipper, snipper, whatever you want to call it, cable. And I just hooked on basically a two-way connector to the top of the wire. And just basically when I got it up the DXing pole, I could tape this part off at the top or tie it off at the top, depending on how long it is. Anyway, that's the radiating element, the upper element, 17.5 feet of Amazon. What kind of gauge or speaker wire this is, so you go and get the right stuff. It is 100 feet of a 16 gauge speaker wire. So we're going to put this into our Kirkland bag, but this one for the Rabakoff or whatever you call it. We're going to get another one and call it the Coastal 20 and put the Coastal 20 on that one. And then we keep all of our parts for the antenna in one spot. So just to stay organized. All right, so there is our upper element right there. Let me go find a bag. All right, we got a bag called the K4 OGO Coastal 20. Walt, there you go. That's how I stay organized. Put that in the bag. Now we got to build the 3-foot lower element. So I may have enough speaker wire left on this to make a 3-foot section. And that just runs down the DX Commander mast or whatever mast you want to use as well. And this balun will get secured onto the mast somehow. You don't have to have a mast. If you got a tree, you can huck it up into a tree as well. That works just as easy if you don't have a mast. Or you can use the Princess Auto tent poles that I have. Those are a little bit more clumsier to work with, as I'm finding using the DX Commander poles. They're a real gem. Callum's done a good job with those things. I hope to get him on the channel here one of these days. We'll see. He's a hard man to nail down. Now let's do the 3-foot section. By the way, I hate measuring in Imperial. It's 0.914 meters. Let's just call it for what it is. 0.914 meters. Or as we Canadians call it, almost 91 and a half centimeters. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? 3 feet or 91.4 centimeters. I know, you choose. It's funny, as I'm working on this project, it reminded me of a story or something I watched on YouTube about a year or so ago. There's some Yahoo in Texas that has a YouTube channel. I don't know who he is. I can't even remember who the call sign is. I know he was from Texas. And he was talking about metric and ham radio and, the 20-meter band, right? Well, we don't call the 20-meter band the 60-point-something feet. Well, no, why don't we use metric on everything? Why are we using imperial measurements for stuff like this? I don't know. Beats me. Maybe that Yahoo was right. I don't know. But sometimes I just like to talk to myself if I'm building stuff, help stay entertained. I don't know, if you can't have a good conversation with yourself, who can you have a conversation with? All right, we just trimmed back a little bit of shielding here. We're gonna find another one of our Wirefly connectors, just like so. We'll put it on there, just like so. You don't need to see me crimp this or shrink it, heat shrink it. We'll just do it. All right, so there we go. There's the other side of the Coastal 20. So now all we got to do is wait for the sun to come out. So the next time you'll see me in this video is when the sun comes out. We're outside in the yard putting this thing together. So let's go.
A few moments later.
All right, everyone, well, we're back. Look, the day has changed. It's not raining anymore. The sun is coming out. It's a little cloudy, but no rain until like 11 o'clock tonight. All right, so we're going to finish this project here of building this Coastal 20. So I got all the stuff prepped. I need to get a piece of coax. I need to get my DX commander pole, and I need to get my SARC antenna analyzer. Let's go get all that done, and then we'll finish testing this Coastal 20 here from the home with QTH. And then we'll go out tonight after dinner, put it to the test of the beach. If you haven't picked up Salty Walt's portable antenna handbook, make sure you do that on Amazon or from the AWL or RSGB. There is a version 2 of that out now, so make sure you pick up both. So Walt's a supporter of this channel, so I'd like to help him out as well by pointing people in the right direction. All right, I got to do something with this mop too one day. Anyway, let's get this antenna done. Just a word of caution for all you DX Commander pole users. Be careful how you collapse these things because they are, I won't say fragile, but if you do it incorrectly, they do tend to, I don't know what the correct wording, but they kind of seem to come apart some if you do them incorrectly. And sometimes stuff happens. Anyway, just be careful with them because they are, again, not fragile, but they need to be treated with kid glove. All right, so there we have the 4-to-1 balun from the Wireman, the 3-foot section, and then the radiating element here for the other part of the antenna. I'll have to look up the measurement of that again. I think it's 20 feet. Don't quote me on that. I did mention it earlier in the video, but there you go. There's the Coastal 20 on the ground. Let's get up in the air. All right, so there we go. We got it up. I got the balun here at a good height. And normally I would tape the wire there to the pole all the way up and down, but just for the testing here in the yard, I just left it taped at the top and bottom here, and we should be good. Okay, let's get a piece of coax and let's get this thing measured. A few moments later. Okay, so we got the coax connected directly into the balun on this one. In Walt's drawing, it doesn't show a choke, so I'm going to try choking at the radio end and see if that makes a difference. Well, we got our 50-foot stretch of coax here. We'll go in the shack and hook it into the analyzer. All right, so 17.5 feet for the upper portion, 3 feet for the lower portion. So my math is correct. That should be a quarter wavelength on 20 meters, correct? If my memory is correct, if my math is correct, I think that's pretty close anyways. So on 14.220, according to the SARC and the SWR here, and remember, the SWR always reads high here at the house for some reason, 1.96. If we go down to where I like to play in the band, somewhere around 14.170, 1.95. If let's go look at other bands here, 17 meters, 2.52. 15 has been on fire lately in the evenings, a little high on the 15 side. 12, yeah, definitely high on 12. 10, yeah, a little high on 10. Go back into our SWR. 40. Yeah, not really usable on 40. I think you can use it on 10 megahertz. But 20, yeah, 20 is going to be the sweet spot. Looks like a 20 meter band here. Again, the 15 has been so good lately. Yeah, the 15 meter band really 4-to-1 on that. Not really. The FTDX10 will complain about it, but the FTDX10 will tune that 2-to-1 match there quite tight. So we wouldn't need the external tuner. So really, according to Walt's notes here, it's his own original design. So kudos, Walt. Good antenna there. There's really no ground elements, no counterpoises. So according to Walt's book here, it says the goal was to build an antenna that allowed him to enjoy operating at the beach while also staying out of the way. So let's see what other notes here that I can mention. I don't know, it says his SWR sweep at 20, 15, and 10 where he wanted them. But I think that was with a 9-to-1 balun. So he swapped in a 4-to-1 balun, and the results, he says, were incredible. So not sure, Walt, what you mean by incredible on 10, because definitely the SWR according to here. On 15 it's 4-to-1. Let me go up in the band on 15 to kind of the SSB side of it, and it's still sitting at 4 or something with that 4-to-1 balun. Now I do have a 9-to-1 kicking around here. I may try that, see what that does. Let's go do that. Let's put the 9-to-1 on and see if it makes a difference. All right, I'm not gonna be able to use the 9-to-1 because of these stupid terminals that LDG uses with the connectors that I have on there. Oh, well, so we're gonna go out tonight and use 20 meters. I think that's our plan for tonight, 20 meters from the beach tonight. So let's get this thing hooked up to a radio here and see how well it works here at the house first before we go to the beach. But LDG, these, nah. I'm not a fan of their posts. I would have to change out my connectors on there because I used, which ones did I use again? I used these type instead of, let's see, I got one here, right here, instead of these type. These types would work with the LDG, but I'm not about to change the wires. I got them all heat shrunk and everything now. So we'll use it on 20 meters. Let's get it hooked into the radio now and see what it does. All right, so we got the antenna hooked in with the choke now. I've just hooked into our number 2 position on our antenna switch there. And we just got it running out to over there where Archie is. Hey, Arch, say hi to all your friends. All right, so the first thing I noticed, this is the hex beam. Of course, hex beam's got a higher gain on it, so it's picking up a lot more atmospheric noise. This antenna is very quiet, very quiet. That kind of scares me in a way. We are hearing things. Put the amplifier in standby mode here. I don't want to run the amplifier. Although that balun is, they can handle 2 kilowatt. Let's see. So let's see what the SWR is like here. Is this frequency in use? Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. Is this frequency in use? Where the SARC put it, about 2-to-1. So this FTDX10 should tune that quite nicely. Let's go see if we can work some stations now. The band is, the bands are not the greatest shape again. Right now, during the day, it's always hard. See if we can find somebody first. Look at that, it's tuning 15 meters. Not hearing anything. Even on the hex speed, 15 meters is quiet. Oh, there's somebody. So that's on the hex beam, and not even there on the vertical. You can just hear them. Well, that's on the hex beam, and that's on the vertical. Big difference. We'll put a few CQ calls and see if we can generate anything here. CQ 20 meters, CQ 20 meters. Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. CQ 20 meters, CQ 20 meters. Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. CQ 20 meters. All right, so I did some more testing. I actually switched the posts around on the balun, and it makes a huge difference. So that balun is not marked at all. So the way this is marked on here is the correct way on that one too. So the antenna part is on the left, and the counterpoise or the ground is on the right. I switched it around, and the FWR now is reading 6.74 on 20 meters. So let's go switch it back. Yeah, so it's back to where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and mark that before I forget. Because I am getting old and my memory is not as good as it used to be. The ground or counterpoise and A for antenna. Why can't these manufacturers mark this stuff, eh? Oh, well, we'll see if it works, it works. If it don't, well, that's what this channel is all about. Trying all this stuff so you don't have to buy it. Anyway, SWR is at 2.08. There's an Italian station calling CQ. Let's see if we can work them, because we've been striking out so far. Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. I mean, I am hearing stations, but can they hear me? The band is not great either, so it could just be the bands. There's a Kilo Alpha 1 station from POTA in Indiana. Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. Of course, Bill's calling at the same time I am. Yeah, thanks. 5 and 5, 5 and 5, 5 and 5 with QSB, Jesse.
I'm keeping an eye out because I'm doing like I'm going to try and do it so I'll be activating some of these parts and
Yeah, I'm just testing the Salty Walt Coastal 20 antenna here in the shack before I take it out in the field. So 5 and 6 was my report, over? Okay, I'll take the 5 and 7. Thanks, my friend. Good luck. 7-3. Okay, so we got into Indiana. So it's working. Band conditions are lousy though. We'll put it in the log. So we'll see what it's like tonight when we go to the field. But there's our one test. It is kind of early, 3:20 in the afternoon. The band usually doesn't come alive here in the summer on 20 until into the evening-ish time, supper time, my time. Anyway, I got 10 minutes to tear down, and I got to go start dinner before I can go to the field tonight and play some radio. So we'll go tear down the Coastal 20. I'm Stuart, Victor Echo 9 Charlie Foxtrot. Next video will be out at the beach trying this antenna, see how it works. If worse comes worse, we just got a good night by the ocean. We'll see you guys in the next video. 7-3 for now.